this episode of Rotors. Today we've got Project Poverty on the lift. We're going to be doing a transmission swap. We're going to show you guys what all you need to do it. Once again, this is a Turbo 2 1988 GXL, or it's a Turbo 2 swap 1988 GXL. Has a full bridge port with 3mm apex seals. It's built, makes over 400 horsepower. We're shooting for 500 this year. But basically, long story short, I raced a 300ZX, blew up the transmission at the top of third gear, so it hasn't been running for the past year, so we figured we might as well get to it since you guys want to see it. Just want to show you guys what you got to do to switch an NA transmission. So let's get to it. So first we're going to remove the slave cylinder, which is a 12mm. It's right down here. Grungy fingers. All right. There's a second one. Alright, so after you've got your slave cylinder removed, what you're going to go ahead and do is take out your bell housing bolts. There's one here, you're just going to kind of feel around the trans. There's another one up here. Just take out the bell housing.
There's one right behind the upper intake. There's one behind your oil filter, which is not here in this case. Project Poverty. You have one through your starter, then you have two on the bottom as well.
Yep. So we're gonna take all my bell housing bolts out. All of those are 14mm. You're gonna want to either use a wrench or, a ratcheting wrench would be preferable.
Ratcheting wrench and a short well 14-inch socket will be your best bet for your. Once they're pretty loose, you should be able to just take them out by hand, for the most part.
Alright, so now I'm taking out all the bell housing bolts. Apparently 3 of them are missing. That could be...
2.
Wow, 2 of them are missing. That's why the transmission might not work. But now we're going to go up with the car, get underneath it. Obviously, not all of you will have a lift. Actually, probably most of you won't have a lift. So just jack it up, get underneath it.
It is doable on jack stands. A little bit more for pain in the ass, but it's
right. It's 100% doable on jack stands. The reason we're not doing it on jack stands is simply so we can show you guys where everything is.
I've swapped my clutch and my FD twice.
Right. We've earned our stripes. We deserve this fucking lift.
You're also going to hear these shine.
Yeah, you're going to hear these side splits are going to crunch as they go up, so feel free to cringe.
We're going to fucking send it. R.I.P. shine.
Now that we're underneath the car, you're going to go ahead and take off your speed sensor, and that just twists off by hand. No, you can just go like this.
Yeah, but...
Come on now. It's fucking this.
I like taking bolts out.
Sun is destroying my camera though. Speed sensor's out, and then you're gonna go over here, take off your connectors.
If these things wouldn't come out.
Good luck. I remember how cancerous they are on the FD.
Ooh.
Dude, you're gonna go ahead and take off the rest of your bell housing bolts. So there's gonna be one right here. There's gonna be one there. That one's missing on ours. And then there's gonna be one up here, and so your starter's gonna come out with it as well. And then once you got your bolts out, then you're good to take off your drive shaft. All right, so now we're gonna remove the drive shaft. There's gonna be 4 bolts, and they'll all be 14s, and they're gonna be on either side.
It's rare footage of Kenny actually working on his vehicle.
Oh my God, here we go. So grab this. Also, a pro tip, when you're putting on your drive shaft, be sure that the bolts go this way through and not back this way, because if you do, the head's gonna hit on the side of the diff, it's gonna lock up your tires. When I first built Poverty and put the drive shaft in, oddly enough, I actually put them in backwards, and my friends had to tow the car on the block, and they actually drug the car through the neighborhood with the wheels locked up. So make sure you get the bolts in correctly when you're putting the drive shaft back in, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull all these bolts off. And one down. So we're gonna take out this final bolt, which I don't know how I'm gonna do this by hand, but I'm gonna attempt it. And be sure you have a pan underneath the transmission side if you don't want oil everywhere. Pull this last bolt out, all right. Pop that down. Drive shaft's out of the diff. And then you're gonna pull it out, straight out of the transmission. And no fluid came out. I feel like my transmission had no fluid, and that's why the transmission exploded.
A little bit,
there you go.
A little bit, just a baby bit.
So we're gonna little fluid, we're gonna catch all that fluid down here in the pan.
Yep, make sure you have a pan unless you enjoy smelling like gear oil.
Yeah, like fucking oldie ass garlic bread.
Don't put that garlic like that.
So this is a Series 4 stock diff as well. So we're putting 400 horsepower through an NA transmission and an NA diff with an NA drive shaft. So we're gonna do that again for you guys just for the giggles and see how long it lasts next year. This car's probably gonna go out racing.
In case most of you guys aren't aware, your NA transes and your NA diffs, not necessarily the strongest things. If you're going turbo, they'll do for now, but if you're gonna be pushing power, you're gonna want, realistically, the thing you're gonna want to do is upgrade to a T2 trans and a T2 diff, or just swap an entire T2 rear end in it.
And specifically
S4.
Yep, there you go.
S5s will work.
Yep.
But S4 if you want all the powers.
Right. The reason you're gonna want an S4 T2 differential when you go power is because the T2 S4 differential is a clutch type differential, whereas in a Series 5 is just like an FD, it's a torsion, I don't know the word, torsion rear diff. So like it has spider gears and stuff versus a clutch pack. Clutch pack diffs are rebuildable and they hold way more power than most V8s can run clutch types. Whereas we're in a torsion, you break it, you can't rebuild it, and it's very expensive to replace. So you might as well get the S4 if you can find one. They're a bit more expensive for a reason, but you can also rebuild them and they'll hold a lot more power.
And plus side, if you get an S4 diff, properly shimmed, you can do 700 horse digs for days.
Right. That's what Lynn Bacon, the fastest independent rear suspension FD in the world, runs S4 differential and an FD pumpkin, or he did for a while. Now he runs a spool. But before that, he ran deep 8s, if not high 7s on an S4 rear diff. So S4 rear diffs hold power. So if you're looking for a turbo 2 diff, make sure you get an S4 one. All right, so we're putting a glove on the back of the transmission. What you should do is take this bolt off and drain out your transmission fluid first, which we didn't think about doing because we're being lazy. But
Well,
so we're gonna do it this way.
I did, I was just lazy.
Yeah, we're gonna do it the poverty way.
We already had it up, but I didn't feel like finding a drain pan.
Went ahead and zip tied a glove in there. This is Project Poverty, the poverty way, but the proper way. Drain all your fluid out. Drain all your fluid out of your transmission.
You'll still need to put, if you don't want fluid, or don't mind fluid on the ground, take a bag, or in this case, nitrile glove, just zip tie it on the back, tape it, whatever. There's still going to be some diff fluid back in that spline, so you'll either end up on the floor or in your trusty glove.
You've got all your bell housing bolts removed, and you have the drive shaft out. What you're going to want to do now is you're going to remove your crossmember bolts here and here. And the difference between the S4 and the S5 purely is right here. So if you do an S5 transmission and an S4, you're going to need a new crossmember and everything. All this assembly needs to come brand. You need to get an S5 version because it'll bolt in all the holes, but it won't fit on the transmission correctly. Because the S4 mounts into the transmission. If you look here, this way, whereas the that way, where the S5 mounts straight onto the trans. So you're going to want to take these 4 bolts out off the chassis, and then the transmission is going to be free, and you're going to pull out the input shaft, and then the transmission is going to come free.
I'll break them all loose first. You might need an air tool if yours has been sitting for a while. In our case, we kind of lucked out. Not too bad. Starting to drop a little bit.
Before you take off your last valve and bolt the crossmember, you're going to want to take the shifter out. That way you can pull the transmission down. Short shifter AF. Okay. Alright, so now that you have your shifter out, the crossmember disconnected, and your bell housing bolts off, you're going to pull the motor out. It might take a little bit of shimming to get out, but you're going to pull your trans out right here.
Alright, you're gonna need to manhandle this. Shimmy, wiggle.
Got it. And out she comes. We got the trans pulled out, and just in case any of you guys believed it, this is a cheap as fuck eBay single disc clutch. It's rated for 400 something horsepower. It definitely does not hold that much power, but yeah. That's
another funny thing is, if you see our other video, which is 5 car enthusiasts that are ruining the car scene, we talk about, well, Kenny talks about using eBay parts. This car is filled with eBay parts, mainly because it's an absolute joke, and that was the point, which is half the reason that we used eBay parts in this. It's cheap, they break.
We didn't buy anything expecting it to last. The entire point of the car is for it to be temporary and funny. So too many people have called this car up, we gotta bring it back out. So we're gonna check everything out. I mean, the clutch has been slipping a little bit, so it's probably burning the flywheel. We're not even gonna check, we're just gonna fucking put new trans on it and send it. All right, ready?
The poverty way.
The poverty way. All right, so we got a new transmission. This is a Series 5 NA transmission. We got it in the back of my BMW. We're taking it on back to the shop and we're gonna install it.
Yeah, that was lit.
It was lit.
As always, we got our Snapple apples.
Snapple apple.
The drink of rotors.
You can taste the skin. My BMW just birthed the transmission. There you go.
That's right. It's been a while.
Just like that. Go send it. Now the shaft's all lubed up. Now it's all lubed up, you're basically gonna reverse all your steps to pull it out and put it right back in. So we're gonna slide the input shaft back into the motor, bolt up the cross member, then bolt up the bell housing bolts, put the drive shaft back in, lower it, put the slave cylinder back in. So, I mean, there's not gonna be much explanation, we'll just play this one through and you guys can see what we're doing. Get that in that quick? Yep. All right, we got the car on the ground. Transmission's done. All the bell housing bolts are secure. Cross members secure. Diff and drive shaft are secure. Next.
Fill it with fluid.
Fill it with fluid.
Put the turbo manifold back on. Do it once over for everything.
Fucking send it.
Wreck shit.
It's gonna be lit. So if you guys like that video, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment if you like, and tell us what you guys want to see. Do all the, do all the stuff. And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next one. All right, because I was a dumbass and wasn't paying attention when I did this, one of these bolts does not have a washer, and this is what happens when you don't put in a washer. If you look, and I got to get this light in the right spot. If you look, you'll see, if I can get that in there, that one of the bolts hits, if you want to rotate it, right on the diff. So you got to make sure you get all washed in there. If you don't, it will rotate, your wheels will lock up, and you'll have to drag the car around. So we need to put a washer in this one, and then we'll be finished up. So there's a little extra tip for you guys. How hyped are you for the sushi right now? Too lit.
Don't mind me.
How JDM are we?
Yeah.
It's lit. Jared's already gone. There's a piece. Just it up.